Hey, good morning. I'm showing 0700. We'll get started with today's operational briefing for the Creek Fire for September 24th, 2020. My name is Chris Creer, the Plan Section Chief for IMT1. If you'd do me a favor, grab your cell phones, put them on silent, turn down your radios, and keep any side conversations outside of the briefing area. We'll get started with the incident operational update.
Hey, good morning. Paul Rodriguez, Night Operations for Incident Management Team 1. Last night I completed my 20th night shift out here, and with your guys' hard work, I'm happy to say we had no significant growth below Huntington Park, or Huntington Lake. We repopulated Jose Basin, and with that we had some traffic go in, but we had 0 service calls. We did have 1 medical aid out there. The spot that we had yesterday that we were worried about, the guys were able to pick that up, hold at 21 acres in Whiskey. Sierra looked pretty good, 200 or up to 200 feet mopped up. Romeo was the same thing. We got that one section up on top. We did get hose lay into it. So if you can imagine from the entire fire, we either have hose lay, hand line, dozer line, fuel brakes, or a road kind of holding everything in place. Even though we're still working the perimeter, last night we're definitely going inside interior. As you go in interior, those snags are still there. The potential for reburn is still there. So keep your guys safe. With that, have a great shift. Smokey, good looking out.
Okay, management and control objectives for today. Utilize the risk management process to identify and mitigate hazards to protect firefighters and the public. Emphasize strategies and tactics that have the highest probability of success and the least exposure to firefighters and the public. Develop strategies to protect life, property, communities, businesses, and infrastructure. Employ tactics that fulfill these strategies while being mindful of the necessity for contingency and emergency plans. Ensure strategies account for incident priorities, applying resources to those with the highest consequences first. Follow COVID-19 CDC and establish local, state, and federal guidance to limit the virus spread within the incident and surrounding communities near the fire area. Provide timely and continuous information to affected agency partners, cooperators, and the public. Maintain fiscal accountability and keep costs commensurate with values at risk. Control objectives: keep the fire north of Pine Flat Lake, keep the fire south of South Fork of the Merced River and the crest of Ansel Adams Wilderness, keep the fire east of Highway 41, and keep the fire west of Minarets Range. Fire weather.
Good morning. So right now, temperatures and the weather situation in general is very similar to the last 24 hours and very similar to the next 24 hours. We do have some heat and dry coming, but that's still a few days away. So for now, let's focus on the fact that things are going to be pretty much terrain driven when you're talking about the wind. The temperatures are still warm, but not that warm. Mid 60s in the high terrain to mid 80s down low. The RH still very dry. In fact, the raw site at Mount Tom was down to 10% this morning. So it's kind of a hint of what dry air resides up above that's going to try to mix down for today. So across the fire ground, we're expecting low teens to low 20s for RH. And as far as the wind goes, sunny side up. As soon as the sun hits the slopes, you get the upslope wind going. And then as the afternoon carries on, things mix a little bit. You might see some gusts into the teens to even around 20 miles per hour. But generally, you're talking about sunny side up, terrain-driven winds. Your piece of ground, pay attention to what happens today because that's probably what's going to happen for tomorrow. Be your own weather expert for your piece of ground. Thanks.
Fire behavior.
Good morning, Don Watt, Fire Behavior. So yesterday we had a little more smoke holding into the area. Today it might clear out a little bit earlier. We didn't have quite as much smoke production yesterday, so expect that to clear out and mix out earlier. What that means for you is intensity will pick up earlier in the day. You'll start seeing more activity in the brush, the timber, and everything holding over. Big thing, spotting distance will remain low, probably 100 feet, a couple hundred feet outside your sheltered areas. If you get up on the ridges where you see some of those higher winds this afternoon, up to a quarter mile or potential. So big thing, continue looking at those islands. It's really heavy fuels. All your stumps will be burning deep underneath the ground. So make sure you take a look at those because those will hold over for several weeks. Anything in the green islands, make sure you're looking at them, mopping them up. When the sun comes up, take a second look because those will start picking up throughout the day. Have a safe shift.
And branch and division work assignments.
Hey, good morning. Merrick Fields, day operations for South Zone with Incident Management Team 1. You heard Night Ops come in here and give us an update. We haven't had any significant growth, but that doesn't mean that we're not done. We've focused a lot of our effort on perimeter control around this entire south zone of the fire. We've moved resources from one division that was giving us problems to the other, and we really haven't gotten in there and done really good mop-up in there. We're starting to get into that phase of the incident. So over here in Division November, where we're still having a little bit of trouble, we're going in there around some of the communities and the infrastructure and doing some prep work around there so that if the fire does impact it, they can go in there and save all of those structures. But coming down into Division Papa around Huntington Lake, we've still got to get in there, mop up around those structures, make sure that the perimeter's secure. Over here behind China Peak, we've got all of that hose laid or all of that line tied in. Now we've got to get in there and start mopping up. In around the structures, Huntington Lake, tactical patrol again. We're going to start re-popping some of those areas in the coming days. We're still a few days out for Huntington Lake or for Shaver Lake, but we've got to make sure that it's secure in there around them. Moving down into Division Whiskey, where we had to slop over the other day. Crews were able to get in there, get line around it, get hose on it. The helicopters worked it. They really knocked the heat out of it yesterday, but now we've got to get in there on the ground and go in there and mop up every piece of that 26-acre slop over down in there. And then coming all the way back along Burrow Mountain, that piece that we fired the other day, we've got to get in there and mop that piece up so that we can hold this whole southern end. We've repopped down in X-Ray and Zulu. So there's citizens back in there. There's going to be a lot more traffic on the road. We're going to need to be really heads up while we're driving around, but then we're going to need to be in there amongst all those structures and help those citizens start to put their lives back together. Have a safe shift.
A branch and division roll call.
Good morning, BJ Corey, Resource Unit Leader with Team 1. This will be the branch and division roll call for the South Zone, and individual resources will be done at your divisional breakouts. So branches and divisions, as you hear your name, please stand, face the folks in the back so everybody can see and hear you, and we will get started with Branch 20, Lotta. Division November is LaFleur, who is still out on the line. Papa Aspelin. Romeo is a change now to Schmidt. Branch 25-29, Campbell. And Carter, trainee. Sierra Uniform, Stevens. And Winnan, trainee. Victor Whiskey, Wade. And Huff, trainee. X-Ray Zulu, Scoville. Repop, Bowman. Mitigation, Fleming. And staging, Hale. Thank you, everybody, and have a safe shift.
Just a quick announcement. For those of you that are signed up as trainees on this incident, I will need you to see the training specialist to close out your packet with the state training representative either today or tomorrow. Thank you. Air operations.
Good morning, Pete York, Air Support Team 1. Today we'll have air attack and Helco up as soon as possible when the air permits, and we'll have 9 Type 1 water droppers and 4 Type 2 water droppers. Make it a safe shift.
Safety.
Good morning, everyone. Brad Niven, Safety Trainee, Incident Management Team 1. Can't stress this enough, resource accountability. If you're a resource going on the line today, a resource coming off the line after 12 hours, coming on the line tonight, make positive contact with your division or your branch. And I don't mean click the radio, talk, hear some static, and think they acknowledged you. Make sure you've made clear contact with them and they acknowledge you that you're either on the line or you've come off the line. Next thing, we get that clear air and we get the aircraft in there working with the rotor wing. Make sure you're staying clear of those drop zones. Trees have been burning for 18, 19 days now. They're ready to come down. A little bit of gust from the water coming out, and we're going to have trees coming down. Make sure you're well clear of those drop zones. Last thing, remember, bottom of the 4 lanes to the top of the 4 lanes, there's a 35-mile-an-hour speed limit in effect. from past experience, make sure you press hard because there's 3 copies on that thing. So with that, have a safe shift.
Communications.
Tom Webb, Communications Unit Leader. We got no changes to the comm plan from the last work periods that we've had. There are a lot of new faces coming into camp, including Smokey being here this morning. So we're up in room number 5. If you have any radio needs, if you need to get a clone, need batteries, need a radio or anything like that, come and see us. Thanks. Bye-bye.
Medical.
Good morning, Jeff Orlando, Medical Unit Leader. Refer to your 206 for the new number for the base camp in-base emergencies. There's also a checklist on there for IWIs, and make sure you report all injuries no matter how minor they are. Thanks.
Logistics.
Good morning, Jacob Garrett, Logistics. Page 26 is your IEPs, your services schedule for any of your logistical needs here at base camp. Page 43 is your base camp map. Page 27 is your CAL FIRE 101 for any items left out on the line. You will need a division signature to get that replaced. Also, please continue to backhaul your trash. Have a good day.
Information.
Good morning, Emily Smith, Public Information, IMT 1. If you'd like to join me on page 28, I have some numbers that you can fill in for an update on acreage and containment. The current acreage of the Creek Fire is 291,426 acres at 34% containment, with a total of 3,075 personnel on the incident. There are numbers for the public information and media line at the top of this page. As you work in divisions with the reentry repopulation, if any of the public or media has questions, please refer those to those phone numbers. And to my left here, we have a poster in honor of Charles Morton. If you would like to sign it and for your condolences to the family, we'd appreciate it. Thank you. Have a good day.
Law enforcement liaison.
Good morning, Chris Craycraft, Law Enforcement Liaison. Safety stole my line about the tickets, so I won't go on to that one. There's a lot more repopulations yesterday, Jose Basin area, Aubrey Road area. Expect more today. There's going to be a lot more traffic on the 4-lane. So just keep your head on a swivel, and we've been doing good so far. We've only had one minor accident, so everyone's doing a good job. Thank you.
COVID advisor.
Morning, everyone. My name is Kevin Warner, and the COVID advisor for the fire. And so this morning, just wanted to mention and remind folks, you guys have been reminded for a long time, but being out here, but on page 21 and 22, we've got some COVID recommendations on here. But the big things that you guys have been hearing, and all of us have been hearing in society for a while, is wash your hands. If you can't wash your hands, sanitize with sanitizer. Beyond that, don't cough or sneeze on people. Seems like that's pretty straightforward. Kindergarten teacher might have taught you that. So keep that in mind, and keep your distance. You know, they talk about 6 feet, 6 feet or more away from other people as much as you possibly can when you're out there, when you're in here especially. And then finally, masks. So masks are important. Where do the masks need to be? Up and over your nose. Gentleman over here, he's got a great mask. Missing his nose though, so you got to keep it up. You got to keep it up there, over the nose and the mouth both. And our friend Smokey over here, who joined us, gave me one of these to give out today. So I'm going to give it to you, sir. Have a good day, folks.
Agency administrator.
Good morning, Dean Gould, Force Supervisor, Agency Administrator for the Creek incident. You'd think numbers could be pretty straightforward, right? A number's a number. It tells a story. And I'm just going to offer something a little bit different to you this morning. Actually, they can tell a couple different stories, the same exact numbers. It's just all a matter of perspective. Let's start out with the size of this fire, 291,000 acres. Largest single fire in the state's history. Most destructive fire this force has ever seen. Okay? So that's one way to look at it. Largest single fire. All the others were complexes. I would offer this. It's because of some pretty remarkable efforts by all of you that this incident didn't turn into a complex. It very easily could have. This 291 that we're at right now, this train could have gone a lot further, a lot faster, had it not been for your efforts. So let's put that in perspective. Second thing, single-family residences that have been lost to date, as reported on the 209. There's some other mixed commercial residential, but just single-family. It's 502. One is too many. That is heartbreaking, to be sure. 502 families that have been impacted, lives that have been turned upside down, memories that are going to be very hard to restore. That's one piece. The other piece is there's 13,647 homes that were directly threatened by this incident that were saved. So that tells me 96+% of the homes that could have been consumed by this fire were saved. All a matter of how you look at things. Life, by far the most important. With our stark reminder over here to my left. To date, our safety record just for serious injuries is phenomenal. And there's not been a single loss of life, firefighter or civilian on this. That's a story that needs to be told. How did that happen? With something that was this aggressive for this long in such complex territory, how in the world was that achieved? So I just ask you to really take a little bit of time this morning, and yes, you are part of something historic being here. But rather than hang your head and say, wow, is there something else we could have done so it didn't get so big? I'd say hold your head and your chin up very high and realize just how big a difference you made in keeping this thing from turning into something that it really could have. Thank you very much and have a safe day.
Final comments from the incident commander.
All right, good morning. George Huang, one of the Unified Deputy Incident Commanders for CAL FIRE Team 1. Day 21. Fire started on September 4th, and some of you have switched out. Some of you are still here, but it's still a long fight, what we're moving forward to today and the next week and the days to come. You get a second, get up there and sign the board. That's Charles Morton. That's one of the firefighters, one of our brothers that lost his life. So let's take the moment, sign the board so we can get that to his family and remember one of our own fallen brothers. As we move towards transition, like Chief Goss said the other day, Team 1 itself, we represent this whole community. We've been here. A lot of us are not from here. Some of us are. But when we have established ourselves here for the last couple weeks, 3 weeks, we have put ourselves part of the community. We've done everything that we can to make sure that we stand up this community, stand up the next team to come in, and just know that every single one of these members in these red hats, and as I remove my red hat in the next couple of days and represent the Department of CAL FIRE, I want you to know that we're going to continue to represent this community and everybody here. As we move towards repopulation and getting folks back to the community, you're going to hear a lot of stories. You're going to see a lot of devastation. You're going to see a lot of folks with a lot of tears in itself. A few days ago, I started off by saying, 1, represent the citizens of Fresno County. 2, represent the firefighters and every operator, every hired equipment of this community. And lastly, as I go on and as I close up this briefing, represent the community, the mountain home, the mountain community. Represent everything that we're out there for. Because when we're gone, everybody here stays here. Everybody's going to be here. Everyone's going to see this devastation for the days to come, years to come. Help every single person that you see out there. Have a little respect. Take the pride of your own agency. Represent this whole community. Have a great day.
Okay, breakout locations. There's been a couple of changes again. So November Papa, right here to my left, followed by Romeo. Sierra and Union are combined again, just on the other side of Romeo. Victor Whiskey is back over, combined with the cafeteria area with X-Ray Zulu. Mitigation, far corner here, right on the other side, staging, and if you're assigned a repop, right behind the stage area. If you're unassigned, please see the resource unit leaders at the back table. If you're assigned a DMOB, please show up to DMOB at your assigned time. Have a safe day.